If everyone would please stand and remain standing to the presentation of colors by the Pendleton High School NJROTC under the direction of Cadet Commanding Officer Sid Witt, followed by the singing of our national anthem by the Southern Elementary Choir under the direction of Ms. Teresa Adams. Following the national anthem, please remain standing as Pendleton High School Fellowship of Christian Athlete student Kylie Figgins brings the invitation.
Dear God, you stirred men to hope and dream for a land of freedom. You inspired those to proudly defend our beloved country. We gather here today to remember those men and women whose service enables us to live in safety. We ask that you bless those who have served and protect those who are serving. We ask that you be with each and every one of their families. Father, we also ask that you be with our wounded warriors. May you show them miracles as they seek to gain back their strength. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
I'd like to thank the NJROTC, Kylie Figgins, and Ms. Adams and the Southern Elementary Choir for their performances this evening. Thank you. You can bear with us for one moment. We're going to be joined by the Northern Elementary School Choir. Thank you for bearing with us during that. The Northern Elementary Choir is not going to perform at this exact moment in time. We're just going to have to do that transition all at once, so we didn't keep you waiting all night. So I appreciate them working with us. And I will go ahead and point out, if you all could kind of move back over to the risers for now, because at some point tonight we're going to have a drill team coming down, and I think they're going to be using that same space. All right? Thank you. Tonight we have several special guests with us. When I call your name, if you could please stand and remain standing, and everyone else can sit down at this time. Thank you. Tonight we have Henry Bertram, who is the Pendleton County Judge Executive. We have Bob Vogel, who's a magistrate for Pendleton County. The Mayor of Falmouth, Mark Hart, is with us tonight. Yolanda Henson is the Mayor-elect of Falmouth, and she is with us also. Greg McElfresh is the Mayor-elect for the City of Butler, and he's with us tonight. We have State Representative Tom McKee with us. Thank you. We also have Dr. Sean Moorline, who is a board member for Pendleton County Schools. Thank you. And we have Gary Beers, who is also a magistrate for Pendleton County in attendance. And we thank all of you for joining us tonight. On behalf of Pendleton County Schools, we welcome you to the community-wide Veterans Day celebration. At this time, we ask Commander Bruce Westbrook from the American Legion Post 109 to come forward and bring us a welcome.
Good evening. What a wonderful crowd we have here tonight. On behalf of armed service veterans everywhere, including Afghanistan, Iraq, South Korea, you name it, we're there. We'd like to thank you for honoring us today. I have heard stories about how the youngsters were going to pot as a joke, and that we were just going to waste away to nothing. Well, last Saturday, the National Honor Society came down to our post and cooked one of the finest meals that we have ever sunk a tooth into. In fact, my membership has asked me to invite them to come back again this Saturday and repeat performance. As long as there are people like that group, this country will survive. So I'd like to welcome all of you, and if you're standing up here looking out, it's sure humbling. So thank you, and God bless America.
We would like to thank Commander Westbrook for speaking with us tonight. At this time, the NJROTC drill team will perform.
Forward!
Toss. Ball. In. Order. Arms. Hey. Salute. Ready. Force. Arms. Rise. Face. Fall. In. Ready. Spin. Ready. Spin. Order. Arms. Ready. Toss. Forward. Arms. Ball. Out.
I'd like to thank the NJROTC drill team for their performance tonight. I would also like to let everyone know that I failed to mention someone that's in attendance, and I apologize. And if there's anyone else, please let me know. But we are also being joined tonight by our new judge-elect from Pendleton County, Mr. David Fields. Please welcome him. At this time, the Northern Elementary Choir will be performing for us, and they will be performing a song called Everyday Heroes under the direction of Miss Rachel Hodge. I'd like to thank the Northern Elementary Choir and Miss Rachel Hodge for their performance tonight. I would like to sincerely thank all of the veterans and active service members that are in attendance tonight for your dedication and service to our country to provide me with the freedoms that I have today. And I just appreciate you allowing me to be part of this celebration today with you. I hope I didn't do anything that messed it up too bad for you tonight, but I really do want to say thank you for everything that you've done and will continue to do for our country. At this time, I would like to introduce the Assistant Superintendent of Pendleton County Schools, Ms. Amy Razor.
Good evening. I am so humbled to be a part of this event tonight, this ceremony honoring our veterans who have given so much. We are very privileged to have a veteran with us this evening who just happens to be our 2014 Wall of Fame recipient. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Robin Higgins, U.S. Army Signal Corps, was born and raised in Falmouth, Kentucky, and served 28 and a half years of active duty. Please help me in welcoming Lieutenant Higgins.
Thank you so much for allowing me to share this Veterans Day with you. And I am indeed honored and I'm humbled to be here. And I just have to say that that's a really tough act to follow. And I will try to do them justice. Veterans Day, the celebration to honor American veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. You know, when Billy Jones called and she asked me if I would speak at this Veterans Day program this evening, you know, I without hesitation or much thought said yes. Then afterwards I thought, did she say she wanted me to attend this Veterans Day program? Or did she say she wanted me to speak? So, you know, because at the time of the call I was out running around and typically doing what I do. So I called back to clarify and she told me yes, it was to speak. And in my typical fashion, I started to panic, just set in. Because whenever I get up in front of people to speak, I want to make sure that I speak about something that means something to the audience. I want it to be poignant, and I want it to be powerful, I want it to be deep, life-changing, and I want it to resonate with you. But that's probably not going to happen tonight. So I can only speak about what I know, and I know about serving in the military. And now that I am retired, I know about being a veteran. And since I'm among a esteemed group of my colleagues and comrades, my fellow veterans, my family's here, I'm among friends, and I'm among future veterans. So that kind of makes standing up here speaking a little bit easier this evening. As most of you know and heard, I grew up here in Falmouth. And you know, as I was growing up, I don't think I ever really gave much thought to the meaning behind Veterans Day. And I know that I had 3 uncles that served in the Navy and they were also in the Air Force, and they were veterans. But you know, when we're little, all we really care about is that means that there's another day off from school. And so, you know, for the last weekend of October, we didn't have to go to school on that following Monday, and so it was a great weekend. And sometimes in our family, you know, people would come from out of town for the extended weekend. And we knew that sometimes during that Veterans Day weekend that we would go to the cemetery. And just like what we have now, the little flags, we would place those flags and some fresh flowers on our graves, the graves of our relatives and our ancestors. And in our cemetery, it's just about everybody that's up there. And we kids, we would run around and we would be responsible for pulling the weeds and cleaning some of the dirt from the headstones. And just generally tidying up in our cemetery. You know, as we were doing that, my mom, she would try to explain to us who was buried where and how we would relate it to them and what armed forces that they served in. And for years, you know, we maintained that tradition. But it's not like that anymore. You know, I think it's due in large part Veterans Day is observed on November the 11th, and no matter which day of the week that falls. So there's no more really 3-day engineers weekends. And I miss those weekends, but I truly believe that the restoration of the observance of Veterans Day to November 11th is important. It preserves the historical significance of that day. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's the armistice between the Allied nations and Germany. That's when it went into effect, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And that was when the end of World War I, the war to end all wars. And it was important because it gave us a chance to focus the nation's attention solely upon those veterans, and also, in my book, for those who prominently served. You know, over the years, we've all heard numerous speeches about what Veterans Day means. And I'm sure there's been so many wonderful essays that the school kids wrote this year too. And, you know, we have been given the significant historical perspective on when it was formally declared a national holiday and the significance of that day. And if we don't know, we can all look it up on the internet. They've got everything out there for us on the statistics of the soldiers, the sailors, the airmen, the marines, the coast guardsmen. You know, how many died during the various wars and the conflicts? You know, there have been conflicts and wars since the first day that we declared a nation. And I can probably sit here and give you all those facts and all those figures. What really strikes me is the personal. You know, what does Veterans Day mean to you? And what does this mean to me? And we have veterans and we have service members that are sitting right here today. They've gone to combat, some have returned home safe and sound, and some have returned home. Please excuse me. For those of you who don't know, I'm known as the crying colonel, so. Of course, but some have returned home as a sacrifice to the country. So what does Veterans Day mean? To me, Veterans Day is a reminder that veterans, we are brothers in arms. And regardless of the gender, regardless of the race, regardless of your religion, political affiliation, regardless of all of that, and veterans, we need each other. When we see each other, and that's what I love, when we take the time to talk to each other, we instantly know we have a connection. And we veterans, we have an understanding, and we understand what most citizens never will. And I love that kindred spirit. It sets us apart, and it makes us a little bit different, even though we are an integral part of the communities in which we live, and we are vital thread in the American fabric. And more importantly than our need for each other, fellow veterans, our country needed us then, and our country needs us now. I come to know and understand that the military, that being in the military is not an easy lifestyle. It's not a lifestyle for everyone. This lifestyle is full of sacrifices. It is a sacrifice. With this lifestyle, sometimes, you know, I've had those days where I was on the brink of despair, and I was ready to just give up. I mean, and I'm sure we've all had those days. But then your battle buddy comes along and they snap you out of it. And that's what the battle buddy is supposed to do. And then conversely, sometimes the military life offers you those highest rewards and you reap some of the greatest benefits and some of the greatest rewards. And then again, your battle buddy comes along and snaps you right out of it. And some of you know what I'm talking about. The sacrifices that you make by being in the military, they're too numerous to mention here. But you know, and I'm sure Henry would sit down there and he can tell you, and the people that have served before, they can tell you exactly what I'm talking about. You might miss weddings. You might miss wedding anniversaries. You might miss birthdays. You might miss the birth of the child or children. You miss your kids' plays and you miss family reunions sometimes. And in doing all that, to top it all off, you get to freeze in sub-zero temperatures, or you get to bake in the heat. And you get to sleep on the ground, maybe you have a sleeping bag, maybe you didn't. And then you wake up the next day or night, whichever shift you got to sleep, and thank God I got a snake in the car in your space and battery because, you know, that happens. And you might sacrifice your eyesight, you might sacrifice your hearing, a limb, or a buddy, and sometimes your own life. But not only do you sacrifice, your family, or whatever support system that you have in place, they also sacrifice. About 3 years ago when I was stationed in Washington, D.C., you know, I didn't take the time sometimes to visit all the monuments and memorials on Veterans Day and Memorial Day. And it was just way too crowded, you know, they have a lot of tourists there during that time, and it's just really kind of hard to get around town. And so, to be honest with you, sometimes when you go on those days, it's just really emotional journey. You just go to monuments. But you know, I live there, so I could go on any normal day or any other day. I could take a regular weekend, and I could take my time to really just walk around these monuments. And I could walk around those memorials. And I could really get to know the history of those different statues that we see there in D.C. And I could feel as if I was a part of it and a part of them, as opposed to just feeling rushed by the crowd during those special observances. I would go to Arlington National Cemetery, and I would watch the changing of the guard at the Tomb of Unknown Soldiers. Some of you all may have seen it on TV, but it's really a solemn occasion, and on that occasion, my family got to join me. You know, and I would just sit there and I would just be still. And I felt like I don't need a special day to pay tribute. Every day was, and every day is in tribute. But you know, when you're sitting there, amazing things happen when you just kind of sit still. And I can't remember on what occasion it was, but when I was in D.C., I met a Gold Star mother from Indiana. And this mother, she told me about her son who was buried right there at Arlington National Cemetery, and he was only 22 years old. And then she told me how he died in an explosion in Afghanistan just a few short years ago. She didn't know me, and I didn't know her. She didn't know that I was a soldier in the Army, and she never had a clue that I was stationed in Afghanistan. But all she knew at that moment as we sat there crying was that I did share her pain. And at some point, I told her that her son was my brother in arms. And I reassured her that he did not die in vain. And I assured her that we will always honor his sacrifice. We mourn the loss of our brothers and our sisters, whether we have ever met them or not. We know what they are going through. We know what they've been through. And we also know that they made the ultimate sacrifice and that we were always spared by the grace of God. You know, you don't have to go to Arlington National Cemetery. You don't have to go to Washington, D.C. to visit cemeteries and monuments that are erected in honor or in homage to our veterans and our fallen comrades. You just simply look around in this auditorium and take the time to talk to one of our veterans here this evening. I was in the military for over 28 years, and since my retirement, it's been kind of a bittersweet time for me. I'm still making an adjustment. And to be here this evening in this uniform that I wore for so long. Some days it's hard to believe I was a soldier, because in my eyes, I just got up, I got dressed, and I went to work, and I did my job every day. And some days I don't see where I have personally made a sacrifice. And there were times during my deployments where I questioned whether I would be brave enough to make that ultimate sacrifice if I were called upon to do so, like so many of my brothers have done before me. And fortunately, I never had to answer that question, and at this point, I never will. But I would like to think that I would have been brave. I would like to think that I would have risen to the occasion if called upon to do so. I visited so many soldiers that are at Walter Reed and soldiers that are at the Warrior Transition Battalion at Fort Knox, and my hat is off to them. They have been where I have not. They have sacrificed where I have not. And they fill me, even now, with this great sense of pride in them, and a great sense of pride in this chosen profession. They were brave, and they are brave. So I retired with a wish, and I retired with a hope in my heart that I made some small sacrifice that made a difference somehow, somewhere, to someone. Before I close, I was wondering, and I was just kind of sitting, and I just wanted to ask, do you think it's possible to celebrate Veterans Day the way it was historically meant to be observed? And I quote, "The original concept for the celebration was for a day of parades, for public meetings, and a suspension of businesses. It was to be a time to take solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service and with gratitude for the victory, both because of the thing from which it freed us and because of the opportunity it gave America to show her sympathy with peace and justice in the Council of the Nations." That's the proclamation. I think that's pretty powerful. But do you think we can have a day of remembrance? A day to honor our veterans who stood between our freedoms and tyranny? Well, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, I think we have to. I think we are obligated to do so, or our sacrifices will be for what? A day of sales, shopping mornings, maybe a day off from school or off from work. We must bring back to the public consciousness the real meaning of this day. We cannot and we must not let the public forget. We are still at war. And some of my friends, soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, they are still giving up their freedom in foreign lands. And they're making the ultimate sacrifice for us. So we cannot forget it. We must remember. And anything less is a betrayal to the memory and to the sacrifice of our departed. Now, I would be remiss if I did not thank you service members and the fellow veterans for your service and your sacrifice. Thank you for remembering, for those that are here this evening, and for those of you who have never forgotten. Thank you for remembering, and thank you for honoring those who have gone before us and who have made that ultimate sacrifice that we can be here, right here today, enjoying the freedoms that we take for granted. I appreciate you for allowing me to share a little bit of this Veterans Day with you, and I promise that I will not be long because, as you can tell, but I can think of nothing else that I would rather be doing on this evening. Proud to serve. Thank you. Thank you, Lieutenant Hagan. At this time, our Pendleton High School band, under the direction of Mr. Livingston, will play the U.S. Armed Forces medley. At the appropriate time, Naval Science Instructor HMI Kurt Painter will call the branches of service, and we ask that you, the veterans, stand up when your branch is called.
United States Marine Corps.
and activities to honor our veterans. And this is the time of the program we're going to honor them. I'd like to ask Ms. Hammond to come forward, Hammond, to help me out. At this time, we will announce the winners of the coloring contest, poster contest, and essay contest, and present them with the prizes sponsored by the Veteran Support Group. The essay winners will read their essays, if they would like to, when they're called forward. First place for the coloring contest, Lily Gibson, Southern Elementary. First place at Northern Elementary, Lane Nelson. Just make sure to hold that artwork up so they can see that. For our poster contest, first place at Southern Elementary, Darian Fletcher. And first place at Northern Elementary, Kane Roseberry. All right, and now for our essay contest winners. Harley Gregan, second place, Pendleton High School. All right, and then first place is Sharp Middle School, Lily Kroll. Well, just a little note about her essay. I did get to read it, and it was about her grandma being a military nurse, and that inspired her to follow her family tradition. So congratulations. And first place for Pendleton County High School, Holly Hart.
What does my family military service mean to me? I was stumped. Not once was this question ever crossed my mind. Until today, I did not know that my grandfather and two of my uncles were part of the military. Why did I not know that my uncles saved the lives of people in Lake Erie? Or that my grandfather was in the National Guard? Was it too frightening? To know that someone in my family has saved a life, who has put another to meet before theirs, has made them my idol. Radiation does not have to be used to have power, nor does a cape have to be worn to be cheered up. Saving the lives of others and fighting for others' right is more than a person could ever ask to be do. I'm so proud to be part of my family. To know that someone was united with their family because of my uncle's efforts was beyond words. Thank you to all the men and women who have fought for our rights. Without you, there's none in us. Fear is a deadly thing that can corrupt your sight. I fear war. To think that someone you love is there fighting to be taken away by God at any moment was my fear. But once was fear is now pride. The bravery to overcome fear and to fight while risking your life for people you don't know is amazing. It's a gift that many don't have. It makes me even more proud of my family. To do things that they have done and see what they have seen is unimaginable. Joe, Charlie, and Chris are not only part of my family, but the military family as well. They've seen their best friends die, but stayed the course. I cannot say enough. I'm so proud of my family. What does my family military service mean to me? It's a question not asked often, but perhaps it should. We're hearing the word America, freedom should quickly follow. With the freedom of press, religion, and speech, citizens of the USA are blessed to live in this world. By the bravery of men and women throughout our states, we are privileged with the rights they have protected. Military service requires just pride, honor, and dedication. But once with military is not a proud piece of heritage I will forever claim. My family military service gives me hope. Hope that one day we'll no longer need to fight. Hope that one day a child's father and mother will be home for Christmas. Hope that one day a family member doesn't have to be told their loved one has been killed in combat. Hope that energy prices will decline and family income will increase. Just 4 letters have the power to change the world. Hope.
Good evening, my name is Adam Hall, and I'm a social studies teacher here at the high school. Beginning on Veterans Day 2011, the Veterans at War program began to recognize Pendleton County Schools alumni who served or are serving in the armed forces. Located in the auditorium lobby, these plaques are a reminder to students and community members of the sacrifices made by our veterans and military personnel. This year, there were 27 individuals added to the plaques, which now represent the service of 152 veterans. This honor for our alumni veterans would not be possible without the generous support of the John L. Griffin family. If you wish to contribute your name or the name of a family member to the Veterans Award plaque, please contact me here at the high school. I encourage each of you to check out the plaques as you exit the auditorium today. Thank you, and thank you, veterans, for your service.
We would like to thank each and every one of you for coming tonight. An event like this takes a lot of cooperative effort of a lot of people. Thank you to the Veteran Celebration Committee, American Legion 109, the Veteran Support Group, VFW, the Pendleton High School Band, Southern Elementary Choir, Northern Elementary Choir, Charlotte Middle School, Kentucky Junior Historical Society Club, and the high school NJROTC. At this time, we will close the program with a special wreath-laying ceremony. Charlotte Middle School Kentucky Junior Historical Society students, Michael English and Fisher Hurst, will come forward and lay the wreath. Cody Dawson and Emily Bertram will read a short narrative about the wreath-laying ceremony. Following the laying of the wreath, the benediction will be given by Pendleton High School Fellowship of Christian Athlete student, Jonah Smith. And half will be played by Charlotte Middle School band student, Caitlin Harris, to end our program. So at this time, I will turn it over to the students.
Millions of American men and women have given their lives in the defense of freedom. For all those whose names we do not know, the unknown soldiers of World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and Desert Storm, this wreath serves as a somber reminder of the cost of freedom. Today we honor the young men and women who throughout the history of our nation answered their nation's call in the times of need. send me. I will stand up and serve my country with honor, and I will defend values of freedom and democracy. Here in the United States, in keeping with our Veterans Day history, our official wreath-laying ceremony is held every Veterans Day at the Tomb of the Unknown in Arlington National Cemetery. At this time, fellow KJHS members will transport the wreath and lay it at the base of our American flag.
Please pray with me. Dear Lord, bless these men and women who fought for the protection of the freedoms in this country. Bless those who paid the ultimate price for our right to gather here tonight. Lord, strengthen us to go forth and use this freedom to spread your word of your kingdom and your Son's sacrifice for each of us. Lord, be with everyone here so that they are safe on their way home. We do all this in your Son's name. Amen.
That concludes our ceremony. I ask you to make sure before you leave that you thank the veterans on their way out tonight.